Thank you very much, Farah. Assalamualaikum and very good morning. Yeah, I love the wireless part. Yeah. So you don't need to cables anymore. So that's what the era of 4.0 is. Okay. So, first of all, I'd like to say thank you very much to Mike for the invitation. Today I will be sharing with you some of the things that we have done for the last 1.5 years. We have been cooking this project for 1.5 years. And this is what we have launched last year. We call it Raqib. But before that, I think most of us have heard a lot about Industry 4.0, right? And Fourth Industrial Revolution. And most of us thought both of them are the same, right? They're not. Okay, surprise, surprise, they are not. Okay, Industry 4.0 and Fourth Industrial Revolution can be two different things. But maybe I'll share with you first. If you have heard about Industry 4.0 or Fourth Industrial Revolution, have you heard about Healthcare 4.0? Why suddenly 4.0? What happened to 1.0, 2.0, 3.0? It's the same thing like the Fourth Industrial Revolution. And suddenly we found out, hey, we are already in the fourth era. Whereas we don't know whether we are in 3.0 or 2.0. Okay, if you know about this 4.0 thing, let me give you a test first before we go to that extent of what is Healthcare 4.0 is. Okay, oh, is it on? Okay, not changing. Okay, the Healthcare 4.0, that's why I was talking and it's not moving. Okay, I thought I saw that in this. Let me give a test. What is Fourth Industrial Revolution? So pagi-pagi dah buat test. Okay, if you really understand about 4.0, tell me what's this? Not moving, eh? Sorry, it's not moving the video. Okay, tell me what's this? Is it 1.0, 2.0, 3.0 or 4.0? Okay, I'll give you another test. Industri apa ni? So you're getting confused, right? So it's so at one time you thought it's manual, but then it's using a new technology that which is like 4.0 thingy. Anyway, if we take a look at what's happening now, is these ripples of technology that comes in, which we didn't realize. When these ripples of technology that comes in at one go, you will see that it becomes a tsunami. This is what we are facing now, the 4.0 thing. And in fact, if you look at the revolution itself, it's quite simple. If we are in the era of 1.0, it's mainly manual. If you use your hands, steam, whatever, it's still 1.0. The moment you use electricity, when it was introduced, electricity, you can do mass production and all that. So it's 2.0. The moment you are in the era of internet, we are actually in 3.0. When you are in the era of where there is these 12 technologies that comes in, which World Economic Forum have introduced. This is what you have heard: blockchain, Internet of Things, AR, VR, artificial intelligence, 3D printing, and so on and so forth. So these are the 12 technologies that comes in. These ripples of technology is a lot more than what we are seeing. And this is what really impacts the whole industry and the way that we live. Okay? So the difference between the Fourth Industrial Revolution and the Industry 4.0 is this. When we're talking about Industry 4.0, it's mainly part of it. is that smart manufacturing part, the smart factory. But fourth industrial revolution covers a lot more. We talk about healthcare, we talk about education, we talk about social impact and all that. This is all the different things that comes in that change and transform the way that we live. So when we take a look at healthcare 4.0, take a look at what happened to 1, 2, 3, and 4. In healthcare 1.0, how do you meet the doctor? Go and see your doctor. You have to walk. And how do they give the prescription? They still have to write on pen and paper. If you're in that era, and if your clinic is like that, it's 1.0. Okay. It's all manual. The moment you can drive in your car, you drive there, and they still use, electricity, they can use some gadgets that can measure you electronically. That's you in the era of 2.0. If you can make appointment online, they can see your data through a database, you're actually in the era of 3.0. The era of 4.0, healthcare 4.0, is when you use wearables. You can monitor this from using IoT. You have artificial intelligence that reads your data and can make better decisions, prescriptive, for example. So that's the healthcare 4.0 is. So when we do this, in the era of 4.0, the healthcare industry have changed. The business model have changed too. Okay? There are 4 kinds of business transformation that we are going through. The first one is technology-based. Let's take a look at, for example, if you want to buy something, at one time, you normally based on technology. Hey, my device have RFID, have Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, 3G. So they're comparing technology against the other. So that is technology-based. Okay, at one time, you always purchase based on your technology comparison. But in this new business model, after this, you're going to go towards product-based. I have a product, this is my smartwatch, there's another smartwatch, and you're comparing the features, the product. Hey, I have blood pressure, you don't have. I have a fall detection, you don't have. I have ECG, you don't have. So you're comparing based on the product itself, the features. But that's the product-based way of business model. But now, we are moving towards a different model, where you have heard about Uber, right? So when you want to take a taxi, it's a service. So you look at it, and you subscribe to the service, and you pay whenever you want a service. So for example, like this, you don't have to buy the hardware. You subscribe. For a couple of months, like what AIA have, you have subscribed to a service. That is a service-based business model. But the fourth business model is when you have all these ripples of technology helping you, is an outcome-based business model. How do we do this? Next time, you don't have to pay every 30 ringgit per month, or 50 ringgit per month, or 100 ringgit per month. I will pay this if you can guarantee that my healthcare costs per year reduced by 40% or 50%. Instead of spending 1 year for 5,000 ringgit, please guarantee that I only spend 1,000 ringgit. I will pay for that. It's an outcome-based business model. I think it's slightly nearer to what AIA have that in mind. So it's based on the outcome-based. So that's the current business model that a lot of people are doing now. And it has to be different because it's no longer about selling hardware, feature-based. It's mainly about the outcome of the whole service that you are offering. It's the same thing when you want to take Uber. Instead of telling that I want to go from this destination to that destination, maybe an outcome-based service of transportation is that, can I get a taxi that can get me to that place in 30 minutes or less? And I'll pay that amount. If you're more than 30 minutes, I don't want to pay, or I'll just pay only 10% of your whatever that you offer. So that's if you can guarantee that. Okay, but in order to do this, you must have a lot of sensors, information, decision-making process to really analyze the transportation or your health factor also. So what is Raqib? It's something that I would like to share with you. Raqib is actually a service that monitors the most important asset of a person. What are the three most important assets? It's your safety, your health, and giving you the peace of mind. I made a survey and asked them, out of these three, how many of you feel that safety is the most important thing? Can give you a raise of hand? Out of these three. Safety? Health? Okay. Peace of mind? So that's the right answer. So if you are healthy, but you don't have a peace of mind, also not good. Right? So these two things are most important, but also safety. But safety, I don't tell you that safety is not important. It is important, right? Except that when you look at these three factors, these are the three most important assets of an individual. So we are looking at two main market segments for our solutions. One is we are looking at elderly. Another one we are looking at for pilgrims. So we have this concept of people who stay at home, they live alone, but not left alone. Let's take a look at this video, especially the children who have elderly parents. Who's the superhero at this particular time? Can we have the sound? So who's now the superhero? You or your parents? Okay. Don't forget, one day we also get old. Okay. Now we are actually working adults and all that, and we have a lot of our families, members, especially our father and mother, who stay at home. So that's the issue that we are facing now. And this is the trends that we are facing nowadays. The population around the world is facing this aging population problems. And what we are seeing that the number of percentage, of these elderly people is increasing. In Malaysia, for example, it's about 10%. It's going to increase about 20% by 20-something, 2050 and all that. And we have seen in countries like China, in Japan, they are facing these big issues. So what we are seeing also, healthcare also provide you an ability to, get better, maybe live longer, but not necessarily healthier. Sometimes you get one chronic disease, and most of the time you get 3 chronic disease. 3 berangkai, kata orang tu. So you get what? Blood pressure, you have this kencing manis and all that, So all this chronic disease, as you get old, okay, at this point of time, you're still young, you don't feel anything. But one day when you get old, you know how much healthcare is going to cost. So that's what we are seeing. This healthcare cost is keep on increasing. Rather than you go to the hospital, why can't the doctors monitor you from remote? That's what 4.0 healthcare is all about. And we are seeing this trend of aging population or aging in place. People no longer want to stay at the hospital or even elderly care center. Most likely they will want to stay at home. But depending on which countries, like in Malaysia, most likely our culture, we have a lot of family members who stay at home, they stay together. But in other countries around the world, in Western countries, their children is already working. By 18 years, they are already out from the house, and they still live alone. But we also seeing that trend in Malaysia too. And most of the time, our family members, or your father or mother stay at the kampung, they don't want to stay in your house. Okay? So that's what we are facing. So how can we leave them, let them to live alone, but with constant care, ensuring that they don't feel lonely? You can still call them up. This aging population issues, what we see this what we call the 4-to-1 problems. 4-to-1 means the younger children take care of their two parents, and these two parents are taking care of the grandparents. Okay, might be two couple of grandparents. The wife on your side, the mother on your side. The father on your side, the mother on your side. So you have these 4-to-1 issues. And in China, for example, they have 64 elderly people compared to 100 workers. So that is a big issue that we are facing now. We don't feel it now, but later you see a lot of elderly people in Malaysia not working, and you are working and trying to pay and sustain them, help them out. So China, you look at this graph, this cone, and we are seeing that as you go up the cone, you feel that is the elderly people is becoming bigger and bigger. So the younger people are smaller, but the elder people are going to be at the higher side. How about Malaysia? Malaysia, okay lah, maybe younger now, but as we move around by 2020, by 2030, 2050, you will see that cone going to be the same as like what China is. And that's what we are facing now. So what we did is that we provide a service whereby, is there anything that we can help them? Can connect them constantly. If there is any emergency, you send them an SOS. They send an SOS. You can get notified where their whereabouts. A lot of our family members have this dementia, Alzheimer issues. They tend to forget. When they go out from the house, sometimes they tend to forget to come back. So what happened? You need to be notified. So there is a geofencing mechanism. The moment you go out, you'll be notified. The more you come back, oh, my mother just come back home. Okay? So you know that in China, there is about 500,000 elderly people gone missing every day. 500,000 people missing every day. It's like the whole of Johor Bahru gone missing that day. Okay. So it's like one whole city gone out, At the moment they go out, they go missing, 75% come back. They manage to come back, and still quite a substantial gone missing again the next day. Okay, that's a big problem. And how do we monitor them? So there are many ways, different technology at different time, different era that we have been discussing earlier. At one time, you want to have that pendant, and then we have a belt. I don't know, you have a wrist, so anywhere that you want to measure. It can be a two device, a bracelet and a phone, or you want to have just a phone. So what we feel that the easiest way, and what they have made a study, is the easiest way to monitor them is through a watch. So they wear this just like a normal watch. Then there is another market that we are looking at, Raqib for Pilgrims. We found out that similar problems which are facing for the elderly is be faced by the people who's going to Hajj and Umrah. Recently, we have done this, and we have looked this very carefully, that how the market going to be. Did you know that every year, the Saudi Arabia hosts about 2.3 million Muslims going to Mecca for Hajj, and about 7 million every year for Umrah. In Malaysia, it's about 30,000 lah for Hajj and 170,000 for Umrah. But there are other countries which have higher numbers that going for Hajj. And every time that you go there, it's like what they say, 6% every square meter at the peak period at one place in Arafah. But imagine, this is only 2.3 million. By 2030, it's going to be about 30 million people going to Mecca for Hajj. And it's very compact. You can't expand Arafah. It's the same amount of the same area is still maintained. So you can't move around. So what we are facing is that the health conditions. If you have been there in Mecca, there's one disease, one sickness that you almost cannot avoid. What's that? Batuk, coughing. What they call Hajjnya cough, batuk haji. The only people who don't cough, diorang kata kalau siapa yang tak batuk hanya unta je. Only the camel don't cough. Only human will cough. That's a very problematic issue. It's about 80%, 90% of people going to get cough. And nobody wants to take care when they are sick at their house, at the hotel and all that. And there's no way a system, any Hajj authorities or any agencies have a system to monitor their pilgrims. There's no system. Maybe in Malaysia what they did, they put 20 people. If they gone missing, you can find them. If there is anything that you want to get help, you find these people who wear red shirts. Okay? So if you have this loss of direction. So missing pilgrims is very common. And especially the problem is that the people who's actually back home, the children getting worried. That's the peace of mind that I mentioned just now, where everyone raised their hands. So the peace of mind. Of course, you get worried, your parents going for Hajj. And of course, they don't get worried. They are there happily. But you are here, you get worried because you don't know what's their health and what's their condition over there. Okay? So how do you monitor them? So we provide a platform. It's a service platform that connects the wearables like this. The wearables that you can monitor, their whereabouts, their health patterns. Any emergencies, you can connect them. If you want to, you can still call them up. You can dial them up or they can dial you up. And for the mutawif means the officer in charge that take care of the pilgrims under their responsibility can monitor them. So if there's 10 people under them, they can still monitor. Okay? So these are some of the features that we have. You can have an ECG, blood pressure. It runs on cellular. So anywhere that you are in Mecca and Medina in Saudi Arabia, it has coverage. So no issue. These are some of the photos, screenshots, but I'll show you a video about this. So you know the location where the person are and the frequent area that this person is always be, and their trend patterns and so on. The ECG translate into different results. They tell you your heart rate. They tell you about your physiological age. If you're 57, they tell you I'm 48. That's my physiological age. I'm 57, but it's 48. Looks young. But and then the fatigue level, kepenatan, they said about 21%. So don't go higher than 40 or 50%. So that's some of the things that have been translated. And how the mobile apps is being monitored through your family members. So this is how the video looks like. So the way that we offer the business and the solutions, the services, is that in local, we normally either work with our partners or the resellers themselves. We can work with the health professionals who wants to make, you can ask for second opinion, pharmacists, any caregivers, hospitals, telcos. Currently, we work with the countries, you can work with the country's Hajj authorities, like Tabung Haji, and also the travel agencies for Hajj and Umrah. That's how we work with the local companies. In overseas, normally we work with other partners who can represent us in other countries, maybe at different models. So there are two market segments that we are looking at. Is either for the elderly people, even patient monitoring. We have one of this, our customer, who's looking at in Africa, South Africa. There's a lot of South African people who didn't go and seek help, treatment, or have regular checkup with the clinics and hospitals. They want to monitor them. Okay, so we work towards that. So and we work with the telco because it's much easier for us to go out to the market. Recently, the last Hajj, this is where we really do our last beta trial, POC. We want to understand how the usage pattern of the individuals, pilgrims, and where they normally use it. We try to see whether they are in Muzdalifah, Mina, in Arafah, where they are, and it's have a very good response from them. We have done a lot of this showcase in different travel agencies. So last but not least, please come and visit us. We have here in our showcase room, a place, and please do ask any questions that you would like. So there is a lot other things, the pricing and all that is all there. Okay, I don't want to show here, but thank you very much for the kind attention. Thank you. Assalamualaikum.